Why hello there, how are you today? Awesome Soul here, and I am back doing a drone video, which is something I haven't covered in a little while. I know in the time since I've done my last video covering this game, I've gained a decent chunk of new subscribers, so if this is your first taste of the video game Drone, it is not out yet. This is all pre-released footage. But the reason the game looks so good is because they have been working on it for 2.5 years prior to actually going public with this thing. It started out as a huge passion project from all the developers, and now it's turned into basically a full game. And they're hoping to get a Kickstarter going sometime soon. But there you go, there is the very quick and super important information you need to know. But if you would like to learn everything else about this game, check out my channel. I have a playlist dedicated to Drone. If you want to learn more about the game, click on some of the other videos I did on the topic. Now, the video you see in the background is the recently released Drone action trailer short version, which is something nobody really expected to come, because we are expecting the full version to launch on Thursday, as we had been given a countdown. So while this version is only around 1 minute, they state in their YouTube comment section that the full trailer will be over 4 times longer. So around 4 to 4.5 minutes, they say. And obviously with a lot more stuff. Hopefully with some stuff we have yet to see currently. So stay tuned for that. Now, what I do want to get into in this video is basically a few of the responses on their YouTube channel. And the biggest one here, at least for me anyway, is the concept of immersion, which is something they're really trying to go for with this game, which is really cool. So basically, what they say here is, when you start up the game, you will not start out in a simple 2D menu. Oh no. You will start out as a character walking around a spaceship. So rather than clicking a button saying, I want to go and build my drone, what you will do is you'll walk a few meters over to the drone building station. You will probably have a computer off to the side and where you can select some of your drones that you have saved, or you can go into the big window bay before you, which we've seen previously in other videos, and go ahead and start building that way. Now, say for example you have a friend that's waiting for you. You can go ahead and leave the drone building station by simply moving your character away from it, head into the back of the ship, or at least I assume from the back of the ship. That's the kind of look it gives me when we see the clip sort of early on in the video where he goes into the piloting seat, at least for the drone piloting seat rather. You can sort of see the glass walkway that's in the middle of the ship, and we've seen that in the initial reveal trailer to be leading towards the front of the ship, or at least I assume. Actually no, it never really shows that. You just kind of assume that because it shows the character walking towards something, and then in the next scene it's shown in the front of the ship. So yeah, we don't really know how the ship is laid out exactly. But yeah, once you get into the seat you can go ahead and start piloting right away. Although presumably you'll have to go up to some monitor somewhere and select which mode you want, or maybe you can do that via the drone controlling chair, possibly. There's my sort of basic breakdown slash things I want to see in the game, but here's their actual response. I figured I'd read it out too, because there is some cool information here. So they say here, basically the idea is that the spaceship with you as the drone slash arena operator is the menu. Instead of having the usual 2D menu, which kind of breaks the illusion of being in a game world, the spaceship can travel the universe, and the universe is a representation of our server that contains all arenas that are built by us and the community on planets, moons, asteroids, space, etc., etc. So, in the spaceship, you can build and collect your drones, fast travel to arenas in the universe. As a quick aside here, they have stated that you're not actually going to pilot your ship through the universe. How it's going to work is you walk up to the console, select where you want to go, and then the ship will pilot its way there for you, most likely by some sort of warp. So you're not really spending hours trying to travel to a new arena. As immersive and kind of neat as that would be, it's a little bit too much. I'd rather just get into the action, if you don't mind. Anyways, continuing on, fast travel to arenas in the universe to do matches slash build arenas. Of course, you can build your own arenas and your own drones in this game. Connect to the drone community with the onboard computer. do matches from the 3D chair. What I assume by that is the chair that you actually get up into when you're piloting your drone, because it does move around in a 3D space, sort of tilt and tumble around, kind of like some sort of amusement park ride almost. They continue, you can invite friends to your spaceship, and something very interesting, get bigger spaceships during your progression, etc. It just makes you feel being more inside the drone world, and makes the game feel a lot more immersive. Now, this is a level of immersion that we don't really see in many games. I think I have seen it before, but I can't quite remember it because it's so rare. But this kind of thing is really, really awesome. Now, I guess there are kind of upsides and downsides, although personally I think this kind of quote-unquote menu is far more interesting and immersive, obviously, than just simply having a quick little 2D menu. It makes the game feel alive. When you boot up the game, you're already in it. Not necessarily battling, for example, but you're building, you're walking around, sort of relaxing, I guess you could say. You're not right in the action. I don't really know if what's in my head is kind of getting out to you guys, but hopefully that kind of gives you a good idea of what I kind of think is so good about this system. The other great thing that I can assume is going to be the case because of this system, or at least the way they describe it, there won't be any loading screens. So, for example, you want to go build your drone and then go fight with your drone. You're not going to have to sit through a loading screen. You can simply finish building, stand up, and walk over, and go ahead and start fighting. At least that's what I assume to be the case anyway. There might be some small loading things, possibly when it comes to testing your drone, but who knows really. Because of course, this is still pre-release. The foundation is there, and the concept is there, but a fair amount of the meat is not quite there yet. We have the skin, and we have a plan for where the meat is going to go, we just don't have the meat yet, if that analogy makes any sense to you. Of course, that was the most major response I saw, but there are a few other ones, so while I'm here, I figured I would go through them for you. Somebody is asking if there will ever be Mac support for this game, and they respond with, PC priority is first, but after that, we will evaluate other platforms like Mac and consoles, which is pretty cool. But that is pretty far away because they still don't even have the PC version out yet, which again they state is their priority. Two other real quick questions here. Somebody's asking if there will be LAN possibilities, which obviously stands for Local Area Network. So if you have a whole bunch of people together in the same room, you can connect all of them on one network, and then you can play that way. And their response is, yes, LAN parties will be possible. The other quick question is, when will there be an official subreddit for Drone? The response there is, we are currently working on a subreddit, and we will make it public soon. The last thing I'm going to cover here is somebody asking about the actual trailer itself, more so the gameplay shown within it. I think it's a good point to bring up because it's going to remind people that this is definitely still pre-release. It's not out yet, it won't be out for a while, but they do have a pretty solid foundation, as you can plainly see by what's going on. But not everything is there. So, let's get into this. The person asking the question says, although this looks awesome, I find it hard that actual gameplay will turn out this way. It would require an insane amount of skill to navigate through those tight spaces, and drones seem to die too quickly to have any chance to fight back once tailed or ambushed, becoming a hide-and-seek game more than a driving skill challenge. To that comment, the drone channel responds with, flying through tight spaces is not that hard with the physics system we have. It still requires some skill though, but a point that is very important here. They say, as for the drones dying so quickly, what we show is just a quick break/explode prototype made for in-game video recording. As what we show is not multiplayer yet, but made with our Ghost recording system. So each drone is recorded separately in-game with real controls to simulate a battle. The actual damage we still have to implement, and we will balance it really well. So hopefully that will clear up a lot of questions you might have from watching the background footage. or any of the other drone videos for that matter. And there we have it. That will do it for today's video. If you enjoyed what you see here, and would like to see more drone-related content, again, I do have that playlist on my channel, with a lot more videos on drone, and I will be covering drone again in the future, whenever we get any more big news. So, subscribe for that, if that interests you as well. Anyways, guys, I of course have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.